Well, the story of Palm Sunday is 100% theater, isn't it? It is. It is. And it's a story that it's set up to be that. Jesus knows the prophecy says the Messiah is going to come from the Mount of Olives and appear a certain way. The people know that. And there's waving of palm branches, there's shouts and cheers, and there's Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. It's an amazing scene. And it must surely have gone on for quite some time, unless, Jesus got a late start to the day, because, of course, at the end of the story, it says it was late in the day, so they went home again after the big parade. Hang on, though. It's a great piece of theater that we try and reenact. We do. It's one of those. I remember as a kid having those huge palm, not just the little guys, but those huge long things that you can fan out. They're yellow, and you can wave them around, and you can also bunch them really tight, close together, and make them into a long, pointy sword. If you're a kid. And those are the ones, by the way, the smaller version of that they use to fold into a cross, the Palm Sunday cross. But I think we've always seen this as a story that, hey, we can get a handle on that. We can reenact that. We can wave our palm branches and we can parade or process around. Sometimes, one year I can remember going around the neighborhood. We had a parade around the neighborhood, everyone waving their palm branches. And I'm pretty sure people looked out their windows and wondered what those crazy people were doing. But we can involve children in that. It's a parade, it's fun. We can have tambourines and music and dance. It's a fun time. Is it? Here's the thing about that story. We don't have palm trees here unless they're inside in somebody's greenhouse, being kept warm during the winter. We certainly don't have that kind of palm here, those with the big, long, yellow things that fan out. When was the last time you were at a parade where somebody waved a branch from a tree or took off their brand new hoodie that they just got and put it down on the ground for somebody else to walk on? In fact, when we have a parade, it's usually very well organized. You make sure you got all the floats and they're in the right order, right? Make sure you have a marching band in between them. Spontaneous parade isn't so much a parade as a crowd. Well, that's okay, isn't it? Because it says in the story there was a crowd. That's awesome. That's great. Waving palm branches and shouting Hosanna. Oh, so there's the other thing. That's not a cheer. It doesn't mean yay. It means save us. When was the last time you welcomed the Messiah to your town? It's kind of tricky, isn't it? Because we want to go, welcome the Messiah every day. We want to go, yay, Jesus. But that's not really what's happening in this moment. The crowd is welcoming Jesus because they have the expectation that he's going to save them. That's his job. He's the Messiah. He's coming from the Mount of Olives, isn't he? Just like the prophecy said. And he's on a donkey, too. Why is he on a donkey? I mean, okay, to be fair, it's the most common, probably, mode of transport. But hey, there's Pilate and the Romans are coming in from the other side of town on horses. Why isn't Jesus on a horse? Well, he's not that kind of Messiah. What? So already, we've got our expectations being questioned. Already the crowd is saying, "Save us, Jesus. We know you're going to save us." Maybe we can't get our head around waving the palm branches thing. Maybe we might not really understand what Hosanna means. Maybe we don't know the prophecy, or maybe we haven't had the opportunity to welcome a Messiah to our community. But haven't we? I don't actually mean Jesus. We have the opportunity to welcome Jesus into our lives every day. In this moment, it's a story of a crowd that has the expectation that this one person is going to save them. I'm sure we can identify with the feeling that we are hoping that somebody is going to save us in this moment. That we can't maybe quite get this done. That we are feeling we're not necessarily going to succeed with this, whatever it is that we're doing. Maybe our lives. We need help. I think we can also probably identify with the expectation not being met. In moments when we thought we were going to be saved. Maybe from a moment of embarrassment or a moment of failure. I think we can identify with that. The thing is that we, of course, don't want to think about that in this moment because it's Jesus. Yay for Jesus. We know what's going to happen at the end of this week too, right? I don't mean the Friday thing. Forget that. I mean the next Sunday when we're all happy because Jesus is alive again. What about how we got there? We went from, yay, it's Jesus, and the expectation that things are going to go a certain way, to finding that very same expectation challenged by our Messiah being arrested and embarrassed and humiliated and mocked. And besides which, the leaders in the temple says he needs to go. And so he does. What about that part of the story? How did we get from this moment of celebration today to the moment of celebration we know we're going to have next Sunday? We got to have that. Because the thing about this moment in the story is they didn't know any of that. They didn't know what was in the week ahead. They didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know that Jesus isn't that kind of Messiah. And that being saved by Jesus is a very different thing than simply overthrowing the oppressive regime that rules your country and restoring your country to greatness. It's not that. It's something very different. And that's the point at which, we might reenact this story with our waving our palm branches and having tambourines and processing around and everything, reenacting that story with all of those pieces, all of those props that are so unfamiliar to us. But how does that connect us to what's at the heart of the story? It's fun and it's entertaining and it's great theater and it's a great representation of the story. But at the heart of the story is something way more personal. And I think it hinges on that Hosanna. Save us. And how we might understand that in our lives. And how we might walk through this next week with Jesus. Understanding how our lives are like this week, very much like this week. It's not just about the two high points either end. It's about the challenges and the struggles. It's about the anger and the learning. It's about the gathering with friends. It's about the grief and the brokenness. It's about the death. It's about the emptiness. And it's about the new life. All of those things are part of our own lives. All of those things. And there's always an Easter. There's always a Palm Sunday. There's always expectation. There's always anger. And there's always experiences we learn from. There's always the ability to share with others. There's abandonment and grief and death and loneliness, all of those things. So today isn't just this moment. It's the beginning of something. It's the end of something too, isn't it? Because Jesus' ministry has led him here. And as we go into the week, we'll find out how that ministry angered some and challenged some and embraced some. This is a week that is very much like our lives. So it's a week that I think it's important to be able to walk through with Jesus. So we have created a little kit, a holy thing, we call it the Holy Week kit, that we hope will help people do that. And we've made some that we're trying to distribute to our members of our congregation that we know we can get to. If you are somebody that is not within our sort of geographical community, or we can't get to you, or you'd just like to follow along, we're going to be posting on Facebook each day about the story, a little bit of a reflection, a prayer, some ideas, a way of not just connecting us to Jesus and the story, but a way of making sure we are connected with each other. We're the crowd, aren't we? When we look at this as a piece of theater, we're always the crowd. And then there's one lucky person who gets picked to be Jesus, maybe. But we're all Jesus, too. There are moments, and that's the other piece of this week, this story. There are moments when this story isn't just about the geography of our lives. There are moments when it's about how we are one and how we are many. And how we are those two things together. This is part of our story. And as we embrace the story this week, we need to remember it's about us too. It's not just something we act out from the distant past, but it's here with us now, today. So we'll be posting something each day this coming week, and that'll start today. We'll have a post just after the service ends today that will introduce the idea and talk about it a little bit, and then each day we'll have a posting about the day. So please do join us for that, and stay connected with Jesus this week and with each other.